20-year-old Ryan Shtuka was last seen leaving a party in the Burfield Drive area at Sun Peaks Resort early Saturday morning. That was the last time he was seen. Now his mother is pleading with the public to help find him.
It's overwhelming. I think it's unbearable, to be honest. We received a text Saturday night indicating that Ryan hadn't been seen since the night before, and they had filed a police report. So they'd spent the whole day on Sunday doing canvassing the area and using drones and snowmobiles and helicopters and 60 volunteers and dogs. And so tried to really focus on the areas from where he was supposed to be and to where he should have ended up. Ryan got a job here to work at the resort for the season. What we're really hoping for is that we can find something outside of what has already been searched, which will again engage the search and rescue team to come back.
The 20-year-old was last seen wearing a blue coat and burgundy ball cap. He is about 6 foot tall and has a fit build.
He came up here with his friends and was enjoying himself up here, doing something that he really, really liked to do. If anybody remembers seeing him after he left the party, perhaps on the way home, any of those things.
Anyone with information is being asked to contact Kamloops RCMP, and residents in the Sun Peaks Resort area are asked to check surveillance footage starting at 1 a.m. on February 17th. For Castanet News, I'm Alana Kelly in Kelowna.
"20-year-old Ryan Shtuka has been missing since February 16, 2018 from Sun Peaks Ski Resort, 45 minutes north of Kamloops, British Columbia. Ryan is from Beaumont, Alberta. He has lived there since grade 1. All of his friends are lifelong friends and are deeply affected by his disappearance. Ryan comes from a close-knit family, and they have been diligent in searching for Ryan over the past 3 years. Heather and Scott, Ryan's parents, have taught themselves, as well as friends and volunteers, how to search basically from scratch on their own. RCMP and the search and rescue abandoned the Shtukas in their search for Ryan after the first day of searching. The Shtukas, through grit and determination, have remained faithful day in and day out to search for Ryan all on their own with volunteers and friends. They also do interviews as well as encouraging other families with missing children through a nonprofit organization called the Free Bird Project, Missing Persons Society. Also, if you have any information as to the whereabouts of Ryan Shtuka, please contact the Kamloops RCMP in British Columbia. On Friday, February 16, 2018, 20-year-old Ryan Shtuka woke up, got ready for work, and left for his shift. He was a liftie at the Tube Park at Sun Peaks Ski Resort. His job gave him free time to snowboard daily. He managed to board 37 straight days. He was a well-liked employee and was offered a supervisor position with a 75-cent raise. However, Ryan, because it would cut into his snowboard time, decided that he would rather have fun, work, and socialize. And what else does one do when you get a job at a ski hill? I personally understand this because when I was younger, I worked at a ski hill as well. I was a liftie at Marmot Basin, Sunshine Village, and Whistler. I too understand wanting to ski and socialize for a few seasons. It was a lot of fun and it was a great experience. And I am sure that Ryan just wanted to experience the life of a snowboarder in a resort town for a few seasons as well, before going back home and settling back down into a more serious side of life. This particular Friday was payday. At lunchtime, Ryan went and did some online banking, paid his rent, took some cash out of the bank because he preferred cash so that it would help him budget better, and he could leave his debit and credit cards at home. He was a very responsible saver, very good with his finances. His mother Heather would say that Ryan had more money in his account than she did. After Ryan was finished with his banking, he gave a friend that wasn't feeling well a ride to the store and back to the Staffacom. Later, Ryan went home, showered, put on some fresh clothes, chugged a beer, and then caught a ride to Bottoms, a local bar in the village. Bottoms was closed, so they drove over to Massa's, another bar, had a drink at Massa's, and then decided to return to Bottoms where the silent disco was taking place. The night was fun and uneventful. Nothing out of the ordinary occurred. No disagreements, no fights, although sometime during the evening, Ryan ingested, of his own free will, 3 hits of MDMA. Now, some people say that Ryan was fine and in control for the rest of the evening, but there are also witnesses that say that Ryan was pretty much out of it. Anyway, the night at Bottoms drew to a close, and a group of revelers decided to try and find a party, so they decided to go to a house called Sunday Funday on Field Drive. After leaving the bar, a tour bus that had dropped off a group of skiers from the Kamloops airport saw them and offered them a ride because it was pretty cold outside. The group took up the offer, and Ryan and them jumped on and rode the bus down to Beaufield Drive. Once they got to Beaufield Drive, they got off and walked over to Sunday Funday. That's the name of the party house. Ryan's roommates and his lifelong best friend, James, and 5 other friends from staff accommodation hung out together at the house on or near the couch. I am assuming it would be in the living room. The renters of the house were trying to sleep upstairs, so they told everyone downstairs quiet because they had to work in the morning. Now, apparently there were people coming and going throughout the evening, a typical gathering or party house. As time passed, James decided that he was ready to go home because he had to work in the morning, so he told Ryan that he was leaving and then left. Now, here is where things get a bit murky. Ryan's 2 roommates say to Ryan that they were ready to leave as well. They got up, put on their jackets, and they walked towards the door. They say that Ryan got up and started to put on his jacket. The roommates left the house, assuming that Ryan was right behind them. Now let's do a time check. Bottom closes at 1 a.m. There were some girls at the party that took a selfie at 1:36 a.m. Ryan left the party approximately 1:45. Now, the girls that were at the party that took the selfie claim that Ryan was in the picture. A woman driving home from work says that she sees a man walking towards the village at 1:55 that matches Ryan's description. The roommates say that they turned around shortly after leaving the house and Ryan wasn't behind them, so they assumed that Ryan stayed at the house and they turned around and continued home. The next day, the roommates get a call from Ryan's boss asking where Ryan is because it is busy and Ryan hasn't shown up for work. The time was 11:30 a.m. The roommates notice that Ryan isn't there and they have no idea where he could be. Boss says that it isn't like Ryan to miss a shift. The day progresses, and at 7 p.m., Ryan's boss contacts the roommates once again, asking about Ryan. This is when his friends start to get very concerned. They begin phoning around, asking others if they have seen Ryan. No one has. They phone the hospital, and Ryan's not there. The hospital suggests that they contact the RCMP. Ryan's best friend James sends a text to Heather Shtuka. It reads as follows: "Hey Heather, Ryan didn't show up to work today and he didn't come home last night. We filed a missing persons report and they may be contacting you. I wanted to give you a heads up." Naturally, when Heather reads the text, she is confused and upset and reads the text to her husband Scott. Scott is just as confused and asks Heather to call James, which she does. James is not making sense to her, so Scott calls the RCMP. The RCMP didn't have a lot of information, so Heather and Scott jump into action and head to Sun Peaks, panicked and confused through the entire 9.5-hour drive in midwinter conditions. They are praying that Ryan is going to be found safe and alive. They finally arrive at Sun Peaks at 6:30 a.m. Sunday morning. The temperature is -26. They know that it isn't good, but they have hope. The RCMP have dog units out on the trails. Search and rescue are activated at 9 a.m. The weather is bitterly cold, and Ryan's parents are waiting at the command center for any word about their precious son. At 9:15, search and rescue tell them to brace for the worst. The combination of alcohol, temperature, and the amount of time that he has been missing isn't hopeful. The Shtukas continue to wait and talk to friends back home. The friends are eager to come and help with the search and rescue, but the Shtukas discourage them from making the dangerous trip through the pass. At 7 p.m., the RCMP announced that they haven't found Ryan. Search and rescue asks the media to make an announcement to the locals to check their outbuildings and basements. The RCMP take Heather and Scott aside and suggest that the Shtukas should keep in touch for updates on their way home. Heather and Scott look at each other incredulously and say that they are not leaving without their son. The Shtukas and the RCMP call it quits for the evening, and Heather says goodnight, see you in the morning, and they return to their hotel for a restless sleep. The next morning, an exhausted couple pull themselves together enough to make it out and over to the command post, only to find it void of RCMP and search and rescue. The command post was folded up completely. In total shock, once again, Heather and Scott take on the incredible daunting task of searching for their son alone. Miraculously, 5 close friends from home showed up to assist in the search for Ryan. The ragtag team of wonderful volunteers taught themselves through trial and error how to search properly and professionally for a young man that mattered, a young man that is loved, a young man that is worth every drop of blood, sweat, and tears given in the search for a son, brother, grandson, and friend. A shout out to Sun Peaks Resort for providing room for a command post and providing room discounts for the volunteer searchers, and to the locals that reached out with love and compassion and embraced the Shtuka family like they were their own family.